What's good, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. What's up, money getters? It's your girl, Charity. Diddy not guilty on the three most serious charges in his RICO case. Let's talk about it. How do we feel about it? What's going on, everybody? Tap in, tap in, tap in. Everybody, come on in. You guys already know I have been following the Diddy trial since jury selection and really since the trial started. I've been watching Armand Wiggins every night. I didn't miss not one night of his commentary. He was so funny. I'm gonna miss that. Um, but this is a serious trial. This was a serious case. Let's talk about it. Come on in. Come on in. Hit that like button when you come on in here. Let's get into it. Let's break it down. Let's put it back together again. Are you guys shocked? Are you shocked about this verdict in this in the Diddy trial? Let me pull up YouTube on my cell phone. On my other cell phone, okay. K Money, where have you been, buddy? I haven't been seeing you, buddy. Have you? Did you like? Did you hit that like button for your girl? It's been a couple of days. What have you been up to? What's good, buddy? I'm just trying to wait. Oh, you've been busy? It's like that sometimes. I've been busy too, but I've been still trying to show up online and uh, be right here with you guys. No, you know what? I don't think Jazzy would want you to tell y'all business like that, but I'm going to go ask my girl. You're so funny. You're way too funny. But today we are talking about the Diddy trial and this bombshell verdict. Did you see this coming? Let your girl know in the comments. Let's talk about it. I know a lot of people were emotionally invested in the outcome of this trial. Get it all out. Get it all out in the comments and let me know, how do you feel? Were you surprised by the verdict? Did you see this coming? Did you see Diddy being convicted on all charges? No TT, what is that? Or are you happy with the outcome? Did you want to see him get convicted on more charges? Do you feel like the jury made the right call? Let's get into it because the trial lasted for about, what, it feels like 3 months. But I think the jury selection started end of April, beginning of May. The trial started like the first, second week of May. So it was about a 30-day trial. Man, he had a dream team. Uh, Elevate, how are you this morning? Diddy had a good team. I feel like when you have money, justice is different for you. Let's just put that out there. You're able to get the attorneys, the expert witnesses. You're able to have people whose job it is to know the law. And Diddy was able to hire a jury consultant. He was able to get appellate lawyers. He was able to get lawyers who knew their stuff. He had a dream team. I think they said his team cost like $10 million. Right, Elevate, right. When you have money, you can get that. It's always I would say myth. People always automatically assume that the feds are going to win because when the feds come, they come hard. And they came hard. In this case, they came by boat. They came, I mean, they came like they were coming to get some John Gotti or some serial, I don't know. But they came hard at Diddy. They had all the evidence. thousands of bottles of Johnson's baby oil and Astroglide. They had uh, guns, and I don't know why they needed that, but they had drugs up the yin yang. They had film. They had video from 2008. They had text messages. So let me tell you something. Y'all be careful with those text messages, because I don't care if the phone is broken. I don't care if the laptop is broken in half. They can go back and get all that information. I think we knew that anyway. And all is great. All is good in my neighborhood. Um, you guys know I've been talking about Diddy. I've done a few lives on the trial. And um, of course, I had to get my morning started right. I had to get my day started with the Lord. But I knew pretty much that the jury would have a verdict early today. I didn't feel like they were going to go into the 4th of July weekend and still have this looming over their head to think about all week. And I knew after being, they weren't sequestered, they or anything like that. They got to go home every day. But still, they've been sitting through this trial for about 2 months, just like the rest of us. They've been hearing all of the testimony. So I felt like it was really cut and dry. There didn't really they took about 2 days, I would say. They went into the jury went into deliberations on Monday, and they came back today with their verdict. Good morning, Kendall. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for coming in. Thank you guys for hitting that like button for me. Um, but the jury already knew what their decision would be. I knew the defense didn't put up any witnesses. They didn't put up a lot of evidence to refute the prosecution. So there wasn't a lot of things to go through. Like, okay, the prosecution said this, but the defense said that. They didn't have to do that. They only had the testimony really to go by. And I think that the jury took their job serious. I've heard people say, oh, the jury wasn't going to convict him anyway. They took their time. They asked questions. They sent notes to the judge. So they definitely wanted to make sure that they gave a verdict based on the testimony and the evidence. So, yes, thank you all for tuning in this morning. I hope you all are doing well. I took a lot of notes this morning, so we're going to get into it, this Diddy trial. So what did he get found not guilty of? There was 5 charges. One for the RICO, all right? I'm not going to get into what a RICO is and all of that. The racketeering, they found him not guilty on that. That was the one that they sent a note to the judge yesterday and said they were deadlocked on. They didn't really have, they couldn't get a consensus on that charge. They had 4 charges that they already were set on. They had already reached a verdict on, but there was that one charge that they still needed to come to agreement on, and the judge sent them back in this morning, and I guess that was a RICO charge, and they found him not guilty on that. There was also a trafficking charge for Cassie and Jane Doe, and that was a coercion and things like that. So they found him not guilty on that. Then there was a prostitution for Jane Doe, Cassie, and the men that were involved in this case, and they found him guilty of that. You're not surprised? I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. I kind of felt like it could go either way. I felt in my heart, or in my mind, let's say it like that, because I'm not emotional about this thing. I've been following it all along. I was a fan of Diddy before the trial, and that's just because I grew up with him, listening to his music and being a fan of Bad Boy. So I made my peace with the fact that another one of the celebrities, or I feel like black businessmen that I held in high regard, was a bust. So after this, it's still going to be Diddy. Diddy, your reputation is, that's gone. Any woman that stands next to you, everybody is going to be thinking about what you have her doing. So, and what you do in your bedroom and how you treat people. So let's start there. Good morning, 601 Ashley. You guys weigh in the comments. Let me know. How do you feel about this verdict? I mean, let's talk about it. How do we move on from here? What do you think life will be like for Diddy and his family moving forward? His dating life, his business ventures. But I feel like the jury, in spite of any personal feelings, I feel like the jury made the right call in this matter. And if you believe in justice, if you believe in people getting a fair trial, then you know that the law worked. And it shouldn't take 10 millions of dollars for the law to work. But in our case, with people who look like me, we are not always treated fairly. And I feel like the prosecution, and they always overcharge us. They always come hard. They always want to deny us bail. So I did see that aspect in this case as well. Even though Diddy is they say worth $1 billion. Hey, just the facts. Diddy's man at conviction sets a bold precedent, flying women out. Yes, yes, yes. Entertainment you love, what's good? Entertainment you love, you won the contest. I'll be announcing that after this. But you won. You won. Get money. What you say, huh? You won, girl. But I'm glad you're back. Because we talked about all of this. I think a week or two ago. Just the facts. We talked about all of this. You and I went back and forth. I wasn't for Diddy. I wasn't for the prosecution. You made a lot of good points, just the facts. And yes, definitely moving forward, women will have to pay for their own flights. But you know that men will still be paying for their flights. Men will still pay for some cootie cat because prostitution is the oldest profession in the world. Now, in Cassie's case, I seen the coercion only because of her age, only because Diddy did victimize her. He beat her, he kicked her. We saw it on tape. We saw it. However, Diddy was not on trial for that. If it was a state case, he already admitted his guilt to being her abuser. He admitted that. So if we're going based on that, yes, he was a monster to Cassie. But as far as did he traffic her, that's another thing. We're doing great today, Entertainment You Love. I see you taking a breaky break, but thanks for tuning in. How are you doing? What you say, huh? So, but definitely it will no longer be business as usual for Diddy. People are saying that he's planning the freak off of all freak offs. People are saying that whoever testified, he's going to be trying to get them back. I don't believe that. Aubrey O'Day has been gunning for Diddy for years. Not only did the prosecution not find her credible, they didn't call her on the stand to testify to anything. So they didn't find that she was credible enough to put on the stand. But Diddy hasn't done anything to her in all these years. So if he had any plans to do anything to anybody, I think it would have been Cassie, because Cassie had all the tape. She had all the evidence against him. Cassie was definitely the reason why Diddy is on trial. They had years and years and years. They had the video from the hotel. Cassie told them everything, and they was able to back up. So let's be clear. Everything Cassie said was backed up with evidence, okay? I feel like she was completely credible. I feel that she was abused. I feel that had she not been as young as she was, had she not had uh, fame and bright lights dancing in her eyes, I feel like maybe she wouldn't have acquiesced to Puffy's demands, or Diddy, or Love, whatever he's been called today. I definitely feel like she probably would have made better choices, because as she got older, what happened? She left him. She started to see that he was only using her for the free calls. And, throughout the time they were together, she would argue, she would try to defend herself by saying, hey, I don't want to be treated this way. I don't want you cheating on me. And she did have other boyfriends, right? Hey, Jeannie, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. People talk about this case like they know what really is happening, and the reality is it is industry things to look into, and now if these people's situations, period. Thanks, Yo-Yo. Please hit the like button if you haven't hit it already. You're right, Jeannie. Basically, they're all doing it. We know Hugh Hefner had the Playboy Mansion for years. Donald Trump, when he was being elected president, he said women will let you do anything. And that's the thing that bothers me, right? If Diddy had been charged with doing something to children, and Cassie, though she was young, she was 21, 22. A lot of people say 18. She was not 18. When Cassie was 18, she was in a relationship with another man that was 27. And although there's the ick factor there because of the age difference, the law says that it's not illegal. So let's start there with that. And Diddy was, I think he's like 17 years older than Cassie. So she was about 21, 22, and here he is 38. There's a big age difference. There's a power imbalance because Puffy has the money. Puffy was in control. I know she may have thought she was a big girl and making her own decisions, but I don't really feel like she was. I feel like she was young, and she was, again, in love with what Puffy could bring her. And I think that influenced her decision to accept mistreatment and to stay longer than what she should have stayed. And a lot of women do that just for love, just because they love a man, right? But I always feel like this, even for myself, even for my daughters. Listen, you have autonomy, you have independence, you have a right to choose for yourself. Full stop. Money or no money, people say, well, you don't know what you would have did. You never dated a billionaire. So you don't know what you would do if you were in that situation. I do know what I would do. I remember I was with this guy. He said, you are the only woman I know that gets mad on payday. And I would. Because if I don't care how much money you have. If I'm upset with you, or I feel like I don't want to talk to you for whatever reason, then I'm cool. I don't care about you having money. What does that mean? I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with you. Bye. And so all women are not like that, and your ability to make good decisions for yourself definitely has a lot to do with how you were raised, your self-esteem, your mentality, your age. All of that has something to do with your ability to make good choices for yourself. Hey TSM, thanks for tuning in. How are you doing this morning? You guys saw the thumbnail. But so that's what we're talking about. Diddy found not guilty. How do you guys feel about it? Let me know in the chat. Let's talk about it, guys. Go at it. Let me know. Let's talk about it. But I think that's why it's so important for fathers and mothers to raise their children with love, so that a Diddy won't be an option, won't be something that, because let's be for real, there are lots of Diddys with that same mindset that want to abuse women, that don't respect women, who are raised by single mothers, who think that they can treat women however they want to. But there are also a lot of Jane Does, and we're going to get to her. Right now, we're talking about Cassie. There are lots of Jane Does who uh, see a lick, see a sucker, and they want to lick it. Jane Doe seen that Puffy had the money to pay her for what he wanted, and she was down with that. So we're not going to sugarcoat that in any way at all. What's good, Smooth? Diddy was found not guilty. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Did you guys see this coming? I haven't really been following the case, just the creators that talk about it. I will say I think it's crazy if he gets off with no punishment. He used his money and power and took advantage. Entertainment you love, he definitely didn't get away with it. He's been in jail for almost a year. His reputation is um everybody knows now he won't it, if he doesn't get a lot of time, and he'll be a fool to, but he's going to need treatment because this is what he likes to do. He likes freak offs. I don't see him changing that behavior. He's addicted to drugs. A year in jail was not by choice, so he did not choose not to do drugs. So I think he is still very much a stone cold drug addict. From the time he was with Cassie until the time he was with Jane Doe, he did attempt to do things differently by being more honest and open with women and telling them that, hey, I want to date. I don't want to be in a relationship. This is a kind of, this is how I like to get down personally. I like to do this and I like to do that. Now, people are probably going to charge him more. What, the man said, involved in this case, said they would have did it for free because, he was with beautiful women. They would have did it for free. And there are women out there who would do it for free just because that's the type of lifestyle they like to engage in. This is not what they were doing. It's not something new. A lot of people like threesomes. A lot of men obviously like to cuck. That's nothing new. I've heard about trains on women. I've heard all kinds of things in my lifetime. I know friends, personal people. I don't do this stuff. Let's be clear. A year is nothing to have destroyed many people's lives. What about the men and the ones that have been cited in this case? The men said that they had a good time. The men that testified. So we have to differentiate between the people who are suing him, none of which were testifying. So let's be clear. None of those people were found credible enough to get on that stand and testify against him. There are hundreds of lawsuits against them, Diddy. There are lots of rumors, lots of innuendos. But believe you me, if there was any evidence of Diddy violating those people, they would have been on the stand. The prosecution would have used that as evidence against him. They had everything that Cassie said. Jane Doe, they had all the evidence for. All the other stuff that people have accused him of, the evidence is not there. Is it true? It could be possible that is true. But the men involved said they were paid and some even said, I would have did it for free. To be with Cassie, I would have did it for free. And they also said she never acted like she didn't want to do it. And so you have to realize too, the jury saw those videos. The jury saw video evidence of Cassie involved in the freak-offs and Jane involved in the freak-offs. They watched the freak-offs. Yes, Diddy needs to do a lot of time because he has hurt a lot of people. And agrees with you, entertainment you love. The reason why the evidence is not there because these people are scared for their lives. They were... Okay, so you have Capricorn Clark, who was one of his personal assistants. She worked with him for a number of years. She testified to him giving her a lie detector test over 5 days. The prosecution called that kidnapping. She said she was threatened, but she also said she wanted her life back. Even as of 2024, before Diddy was arrested, she wanted to work for him again. So you have all these people who were saying, the people who did testify, they would say that he mistreated them, that he did this to them, he did that to them, but it was also evidence that they continued to work for him, that even after they were fired, they wanted to go back and work for him. They had nothing but good things to say about him. So it's one thing to say somebody mistreated me, but when you no longer work for him and it's 3 or 4 years later, you're still calling him, asking him how he's doing, telling him you love him. So I don't doubt that Diddy was an a-hole. I don't doubt that he mistreated people. They were being threatened to change their stories. They didn't have any evidence of that. They did have evidence that Diddy did contact one of the witnesses, and I don't doubt that he would have given them money. In the cases where they were saying that, mostly I think they had evidence that Diddy was probably paying people off not to testify, and not to testify, but not to talk to the media, not to put the story out. That's what he did with the hotel case. He did pay for the video in that case. And then there's Jonathan Oddie. The feds got Jonathan Oddie. If you don't know him, look him up. He was the guy that nobody believed, right? And it's crazy the things that they come out with. So I there may be some people out there that have credible accusations about Diddy, but there's no evidence for that um, yet. Yet. With Jonathan Oddie, he was saying a whole lot of everything. He was accusing President Obama of things, accusing President Trump of things, so he sounded like a Looney Tune. But the part of his story, so that's why you got to listen to people, because somewhere in all that lunacy, there was the truth. He said that Puffy hired him to bone Cassie, and that Puffy had paid him $5 million not to speak about it. So he had been doing this for years, Puffy, and he had been paying people off the whole time. Nobody said that he had threatened to off them, though. They said he paid them. So um, there was no evidence really of him threatening people not to tell, but there was evidence of him paying people off. And they really didn't show where he had paid Jonathan Oddie off. They just said he was one of the guys that Cassie had been with. But we do know that Jonathan Oddie bought a lot of property, and his ex-wife said that he did come into some money. If they let him out, let R. Kelly free. R. Kelly had, his case had children involved. And when children are involved, I don't care. I'm always going to take the side of a child. No, 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 without reservation. I'm always going to believe a child. Children don't lie about things like this. Children are innocent. Children do not have the ability to consent. And that's why I felt like Diddy would get coercion for Cassie, because she was so young and so impressionable. And he had her doing so much, but the jury didn't find that that he was guilty for coercing her. I agree with you, Yo-Yo. If they let Diddy out, they do need to free R. Kelly, because those children's parents paid him to have their children. TSM says, I believe Diddy was accused of having underage around too, but no evidence. He has some lawsuits, TSM. There are some accusations that that some girls said that when they were minors, that he did things with them. But again, if they were credible, the prosecution would have had them on the stand. They would have loved to have had them on the stand. The prosecution was gunning for Diddy. They were not playing with him at all. Okay? They came blazing for that evidence. It's like they knew what to look for. Cassie had gave them the whole rundown. They were not playing with him. So trust me, this was not a botched prosecution. This is the federal government. Remember, they said the feds always win their case. I know a few people who don't have Diddy's money who fought the feds and they won. So Don't take that as gospel either. The feds do not always win their case. People usually plead. They plead because they know the evidence against is against them, but they don't always win their case. But definitely, they had evidence of everything else. They had witness testimony for everything else. If they could have corroborated any serious accusations against Diddy for being with minors, that would have been in the trial. I watched the entire trial. I read through countless pages of testimony. I watched commentary for people who were in there various days. So that was not there. And if it was, they would have tried him for that. They tried Diddy with racketeering, saying he used his business to coerce women. He used the people that worked for him. And I feel like the evidence was kind of there for the racketeering, to be honest with you. Because his personal assistants, his security, KK, Christina Coram, I think her name is, I think they're still coming for her because they mentioned her name a lot. Um, so I hope she's lawyered up. Justin Combs was in the hot chair at one point. What's your thoughts on that on him? Um, there is still a lawsuit with his son's name on it. So again, people can sue you for anything, um, and there's you don't need as much evidence to sue someone. You can really accuse someone of something, and that's what's going to make or break Diddy. He has, I think, 100 cases against him right now, and just like with OJ, they weren't able to convict him um, of the murder of Nicole Brown, but they did. Um, the jury did find him liable for her death. So Diddy, the same thing might occur with this case. Guys, go ahead and hit my like button for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys all for tuning in and your opinions. Um, I think the important thing is to look at this case as an opportunity to educate yourselves. And if you have daughters or sons, to your sons, let them know and teach them how to treat women. Teach them not to abuse women, right? That's what's up, yo. That's what's up. um, I think that I'm so glad I don't have boys. Boys, whew. But at the same time, I worry for my daughters. I have 5 daughters that have to be out in these streets and go through things. I try to teach them things, and it's hard being a single mother. You try to make them aware. I try to lead by example. And that's the reason why I'm not married again. That's the reason why I don't have men all off and through my house. Well, I just popped up on your husband feeding business account. Get money. Get money. Shout out to Yo-Yo's husband, who's always in the background. I know he's probably in the background commenting. Shout out to you. um, I worry about my daughters meeting a Diddy. I would feel horrible. I don't know what I would do if somebody was urinating on my daughter. If someone was forcing her, one of my children, I have 5 daughters, forcing them to do something like that. And I don't know how I would feel to allow my children to see me being abused in front of them, hit, attacked, called names. So I don't have a bitterness towards men. I don't distrust men, but I feel like it's up to me as their parent to be a good example to them and to not put them in those type of positions, because the world is crazy. It's evil. It just is. I'm not defending anything. And I always said, and I did a short early on after Cassie's testimony, and I said, even if she agreed to it, that was a lot. That was a lot to have her sleeping with 3 and 4 different men. He don't comment, but he do be listening with me, and he will let you all run on his device to support you all too. I appreciate that. I appreciate him for that. Tell your husband thank you. I appreciate him for his support. It was the opposite for me, so I understand your statement. I was in an abusive relationship, but she was the abuser, and my kids had to watch and think it was okay, so I had to end that. Right. Um, and I think that's where I stand at. Like I said, I'm a mom of 5 daughters. I'm a sister. I have a mother. I'm all for empowerment. I'm an independent woman and free thinker. I have my own opinions. And that's what, honestly, quite honestly, to be quite frank with you all, that's why I have issues in my relationships. I don't listen. Okay? I'm thinking for myself. I'm not listening to something that doesn't sound right to me. And you're not just going to tell me anything. I'm trying to listen more. I'm trying to be more feminine, guys, and that guys have it a little bit more. Good morning, BDBGP. How are you doing today? Thank you for stopping by. We're talking about Diddy, the Diddy trial. Weigh in the comments. You guys have a lot of good things to say. I appreciate you guys for commenting and engaging and for hitting that like button. Um, I took a lot of notes. I haven't really got to my notes because you guys are engaging. I like that. I like that you guys all have opinions because this case was very important for a lot of reasons. It was important because domestic violence is always an important issue for me. I've seen a lot of women get abused growing up. And I think that had a lot to do, or has a lot to do with my thinking as a woman. I've seen a lot of women be abused in TSM. I've also seen a lot of women play men. Let's keep it real. So that's why I say when it comes to children, I'm automatically on their side. There ain't nothing you could tell me a child wanted to do it. There ain't nothing that an adult should have to say to a kid. But go sit down, go get on my face, going in there with the rest of the kids. Grown-ups are talking. There should never be a reason why a grown man, even a 30-something-year-old man with an 18-year-old, is crazy to me. So that's why, again, I said that I felt that in Cassie's case, he should have been found guilty on that, in my opinion. But I think that they didn't want Diddy to get a lot of time, so they didn't find him guilty of that charge for that reason. Because juries, they're going to have their own opinions about a case and how they feel about it, right? So why they may feel like, okay, we have to find this man guilty of something, we don't want to find him guilty of a charge that's going to see him spend the rest of his life in jail. Hey, TSM fan page, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. What's good with you guys? How are you guys all doing? How are you feeling about this jury? How are you feeling about the decision they came up with? Weigh in the comments. I had a feeling that they were going to come up with a decision today. So after I read my word, after I took some notes, after I weighed how I felt about the trial, I said, let me get on here and talk to the money getters about this. But yes, one of the notes that I wanted to really hone in on again is that the case did not involve children. There were no male victims as far as accusing Diddy of doing anything wrong. But Diddy was found guilty of paying males and paying. Now this is the kicker. Diddy was not found guilty of coercing Cassie or coercing Jane Doe. He was found not guilty on those charges. However, he was found guilty of paying them. So basically, the jurors agreed that they were prostitutes. Cassie is a prostitute, Jane Doe is a prostitute, and the men who participated, prostitutes. Essentially, that's what they are saying, that they accepted money to sleep with Diddy. Okay? No coercion involved. He's not convicted of forcing Cassie. He's not convicted of forcing Jane Doe. You all know who that is. I won't dox her here, but you guys know who Jane Doe is. Um, he was not found guilty of making them do a thing. He was found guilty of paying them for the free calls. So there's that. He's 55. No matter how much time they give him, it's a wrap. Entertainment you love. The two charges that he have are the Mann Act, and each charge carries up to 10 years. But the judge has to factor in that this is basically his first conviction, and they have to factor in the time he already served. So they can run the time concurrent. So even if he gets 10 years, that time will be ran concurrent. So it won't be 20. And then he'll get time uh, he'll get credit for time served. So they can also give him, so if he did 85% of that time, that would be 8.5 years. He already did one, so 7.5 years. And then they can give him, say, 2 years, 5 years, sometime home confinement. They can give him some of that time in a halfway house. They can give him some of that time in a rehab. They can give him time and then give him probation for the rest. So it's all going to depend. Um, the prosecution is pressing for 20 years, of course. And of course, his defense attorney is going to fight that he doesn't get that much time. So, um, you know, there's that to consider. Diddy doesn't feel like he's going to get all that time. After the jury read their verdict, he was on the ground praying. Before they read the verdict, he asked if he could pray with his family. The judge allowed him to do that. He prayed, and he had the Bible with him the whole time. I don't know. I'm not going to judge him for praying and reading the Bible. You should have been doing that. Um, you should have been doing that. And I just hope that he has a contrite heart now. What a name to be labeled as. Hey, Ashley 10, thank you for tuning in. How are you today? Weigh in. How do you feel about the jury's decision? You trying to stay cool? And you said all of those people are not prostitutes. I'm saying that's what the jury convicted him as, paying prostitutes. Where Cassie, the charge for Cassie was trafficking. Um, the charge for, let me make sure I'm saying this right, because it's kind of like convoluted a little bit. Um, he was found guilty of the Mann Act, which is crossing state lines for prostitution. So, and Cassie, that was a charge with Cassie and the men involved, and Jane Doe and the men involved in those instances. So, the Mann Act is prostitution. So, who were the prostitutes that he paid? I didn't say it, the jury did, and the prosecution did. The prosecution said that they were engaging in prostitution. So it's not me saying that. And that's what they charged him with, hiring prostitutes and having them cross state lines to prostitute, because he paid them. He was paying Jane Doe's rent. Uh, she said he had her sign a love contract where he paid her rent for 2 years. He was paying for her attorney. Right now, still till this day, he is still paying Jane Doe's rent. Um, Cassie got 30 million. I think that had a lot to do with the jury's decision. What do you guys think? Do you think that the jury felt some type of way because Cassie went for money instead of going for justice? Understand, none of these people willingly got on the stand. They had to be given immunity because the escorts And Cassie and Jane Doe, they all were paid to do this. They all were distributing. They all admitted to picking up illegal substances. They all admitted to indulging in them. So they were all partying, living the living the rock star lifestyle. So they all were guilty. All of these people had to be given immunity. Most of the people that testified against Diddy were given immunity. He should have had that Bible and not all that baby oil. Absolutely entertainment you love. Um, Again, you had these women performing for 3 and 4 days. You had these women with 3 and 4 men at a time, 3 and 4 strange men that they did not know, unprotected. And he didn't care about his own life. I mean, Cassie said Diddy OD'd once. They were doing ketamine, cocaine, Molly, MDMA. I don't know, ecstasy. I don't know if it's all the same. I don't know. They were into everything and they were doing it for days on end. Any of these people could have lost their life to AIDS. They could have herpes. They can have anything right now. And I'm not satisfied that they don't. They refuse to let Cassie's medical records come in. Right, TSM. True, yes. They refused to let her medical records come in, but she said that she will be recovering from this for the rest of her life. So I don't know what that meant. But Jonathan Oddie accused them of giving him herpes. So that's why he was paid $5 million, because he said he got the herp from them. Now, he could have herpes and it not came from them. He could have it from somebody else, but he said they gave it to him. But all these men were escorts. They were getting paid from different people already. Again, to you, Yo-Yo, you said the men that he hurt. The men who were involved in the cases, again, Jane and Cassie, they said who they were with. And they didn't agree that it was other people who are suing him. If they did, the prosecution had all the men, they had all their pictures. It was like 10 or 12 guys, and they pretty much used the same guys. They used cowboys for girls or cowboys for angels. Let me not say, because some of y'all might try to call them up. I'm joking. But that he used an escort service. So he, in his mind, as messed up and drugged up as it was, he felt like, especially when it came to Jane Doe, listen, I'm being honest with you. I'm letting you know I date different women. Hey, I can give you a little money because I'm taking up a lot of your time. Um, he he said, hey, he was paying the men. He made sure they had money. Hey, you want to do drugs with me? I got the baby oil. I'm paying for your ticket to come to Turks and Caicos. We're going to party. We're going to go to do this in Vegas. Come to my island. Come to this hotel. I got you. So everybody that was involved was paid. They may have been manipulated because this is what Puffy wanted. I want this. This is how I get down. I'm a voyeur. I like to watch my woman be with other men. Cassie said, I'm down. Jane Doe said, I'm down. But hold up, swole up. I'm going to need some money. Me and my baby fit. My baby daddy's not kicking me down like that. I'm going to need a nice house. I need my bank account right. Hey, you got me doing all this and that. You don't have Young Miami doing this. You don't have old girl doing this. I'm doing all the heavy lifting. Hey, I'm with you for 3 and 4 days at a time. I need my money. And then you got me doing all this, and then I'm not on the red carpets. I'm not going to the Met Gala. What's good? And the men, they don't care. They're like, hey, Cassie's beautiful. Jane Doe is beautiful. These are good-looking women. You mean I get paid to do this? And I would do it anyway. And I don't have to do anything with Puff. He's weird in that corner. Ew. But I'm getting paid to do this. I can ignore him. Plus, I get a free trip to anywhere that they are. I'm getting that paid for. I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid 5,000, 6,000 to come and sleep with a beautiful girl. And so there's that. And again, I know it seems icky, but you guys have to realize some people like to do this kind of stuff. I've had friends, the kind of stuff they say they like to do. Hey, Ryan, what's good with you? You saw the thumbnail. We're talking about the Diddy trial. Are you shocked? Are you surprised? How do you feel about that? Again, I know women who say I do, and not, again, they're not being paid. They're not being forced to do with other men. So, but I know women. I want to give my man a threesome for his birthday. Me and my man, we like to invite women into our bedroom, and I'm looking at them like, what? Or this is how I get down. I do this for that. I use this on him. I do that with him. Some women get down like that. They like to party like that. Oh, me and my man, we got us an e-pill and we partied all night long and we turned up. Girl, you need to try it. I don't want to try that. So, again, you guys have to look at it with an optimistic set of eyes. Don't look at it as what you would do, because a lot of us would not do some of the things that they did. But they have video of them, and those women did not look like they were forced. So that's another thing that you have to take into consideration when the jury is looking at the videotapes and they're watching what's taking place on those videos. They're not seeing coercion. They're not seeing force. And they said later on, well, he had me on this. He had me on that. Okay. One time you can say that. But here we go with this, or we have to take this into consideration. If my man goes and robs a bank and I'm the getaway driver, I cannot say that he forced me, because while he's in the bank, I can drive away. When he's planning, I can go tell. Right? If he doesn't have a to my head forcing me to do it the whole time, and I have a chance to get away and I have a chance to tell, I'm going to be charged with accessory. These women that were involved, they helped plan, they helped set up, they helped lure the men to the hotels, saying that they wanted a dancer, and then when the men got there, they switched up and said it was for actual freak offs. So they had to be given immunity for that, because they helped plan the hiring of these men. My wife and I don't play that extra stuff. I'm selfish with mine. Right, Ryan? You're happy he beat the RICO case? Ryan, I could kind of see it there, but what about their underage kids? I'll answer that in a second. And I could kind of see the RICO being there. I feel like the prosecution did a doggone good job of presenting this case. They had all the evidence. They showed everything from year to year. They had his personal assistants testify. They had his accountants testify. They showed the money trail. They showed where he hired the escorts, who he hired them from, the money he paid them, the drugs that he bought, how he used his personal assistants to buy them. They showed how he took Cassie and Jane Doe and these escorts from state to state across the country. They showed it all. It all was there. So you could kind of see the RICO, but the RICO was done to shut him down forever, to take his money, to take his houses. And I knew that the jury was going to have a hard time doing that, especially when there was adults involved and adults who were involved and got paid for it. They couldn't really see them as victims. Yes, what he did was illegal. It's illegal to hire people to have relations with you. It's illegal to pay them to come and do that. That's a crime. It's illegal to take men and women across state lines, even if you're not making money off of it. So if you meet someone and they said, I'm going to pay you, pay for your ticket to come visit me, and we're going to party and we're going to have fun, If the woman says later on, he forced me or he paid me to do this, that's a crime. That's a crime. And I'm sure there won't be a lot of women who would actually do that. But if you're a billionaire like Puffy, if you're an athlete with millions of dollar contract, you have something to worry about because they see women on Instagram and they're good for saying, come meet me, come do something strange for a little change. And these women, a lot of women don't tell because I'm with Puff, I'm with this athlete, I'm with that athlete, I'm having fun, I'm on a yacht, I'm looking cute in a nice suite, I'm being flown out to here or there. They like that kind of lifestyle. But Ryan, I agree. I'm not sharing my man, but there are some women who go both ways. There are some men who go both ways, and they like inviting other people into their bedroom. I don't agree with that. I feel like if you're married, nobody should uh, cross the sanctity of marriage. But people do that. There's a lot of things I wouldn't do. However, if all parties are consenting, that is on them. I can't judge how somebody else chooses to live their life. And if a woman agreed to be paid to party with somebody and she know that she agreed to it, I feel like it's kind of dirty to come back and say you were forced, especially if you continue to do it, especially if you said, I want more money, especially if you were coming up with ideals to do it on your own. Sometimes these women were saying he wasn't even asking them for a freak off. In Jane Doe's case, he said, listen, okay, you don't want to do it anymore, that's fine. I'll pay your rent for a few more months, and then, we could just be friends. And they broke up a few times. So when she said she didn't want to do it, he said, but listen, this is how my lifestyle is. This is how I want it to be. This is how, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. Cassie said she did it because she didn't want him to do it with other women. Folks, that is a decision. That is not coercion because you said you did it because you loved him. You did it because you wanted to make him happy. You did it because you don't want him to be with somebody else and party like this. That is a decision. Nobody forced you. I can't tell my husband, oh, I only was with you last night because I didn't feel like doing it, but I just wanted you to shut up. Okay, that's your husband. Husbands and wives and people in relationships often do things. You do things sometimes that you don't really want to do, like your neck is hurting at night. You don't really feel like giving him head, or maybe you're having cramps or whatever. You don't really feel like doing all that, but you want to shut him up, put him to bed. You do it because that's your man, and that's how you get down. I'm sure there's fellas out there. You're rubbing feet, you're rubbing backs, you're doing different things you don't necessarily want to do, but you love your spouse, so you do it, right? So, but if you're Diddy and you make a lot of money and somebody finds fault with you or they're mad because you're breaking up with them, they can come back later and say, you know what? I didn't want to do none of that stuff. And the only reason why I did it was because you made me and I was scared to tell on you. Enjoying the live. Be sure to hit that like for our very own MMG. Thank you, TSM. I appreciate that. You still think he got away with a lot of stuff that he did do? And that's another thing that we didn't discuss. People feel like he has something to do with the Tupac situation. People feel like he wasn't fair with his artists. People feel like he did Kim wrong and he may have something to do with her passing. People feel like Diddy has been getting away with everything for years, even before this. So it wasn't really a shocker that he had all these skeletons in his closet. We knew, we knew he was up to no good. We didn't know in which manner and we didn't know how, right? But we knew he was up to something, right? So a lot of people feel like, hey, he should go to jail for life for some of the things that he did for that reason. Very true, TSM. And I don't dispute that. I don't dispute that he has hasn't been the best employer. I don't dispute that he hasn't treated women right. He has several baby mamas, his twins and one of his daughter born in the same year. I don't dispute that he mistreated Cassie. I don't dispute that he was having his way out here. I don't dispute that at all. I don't. But again, these are grown women. These are grown men. These are people who made choices to stay with him. Um, and with the exception of Cassie, who we saw, and just because we didn't see it, it doesn't mean that he wasn't doing it, because up until we saw that video, he was calling her a liar. He was saying that he didn't do that. He was saying that it was a money grab, knowing the whole time it was video evidence that he had been coercing this girl. So I'm not going to say that you guys aren't right when you said, oh, he should get time. I feel like he should get time for something. I feel like the charges that he was convicted of in this case was kosher. I feel like, however, whatever time the judge gives him, whatever time, whether it be an additional year, whether it be rehab, whether it be the whole 20, that's what he get. And that's on him. And then he still has all those lawsuits to contend with. So we're not going to sugarcoat it and act like he was falsely accused, like he's some angel, because he's not. He's not. And everything that they said he did it. He did it. He distributed the drugs. He paid the male prostitutes. He beat Cassie. He had them sleeping with various different men. He also beat Cassie. He mistreated his staff. He threw things at him. We saw him throwing a vase at Cassie's head that nearly missed her. We saw all of that. We saw it. So everything they accused him of, he did. There was no denying it. He did it. However, what they charged him with, what they accused him of, what they showed him doing, he did it, but the charges were not there. Not just him, but others too. I think if he go down, others will too. They did mention, and I think this is what I think. If it was just Cassie, then if it was just Cassie, the government couldn't have charged him with this because of the statute of limitations. They couldn't charge him if they couldn't charge Diddy with what they charged him with if they didn't have Jane Doe testify against him. However, with Jane Doe, it became sticky with her, and she actually is the reason why I feel like the prosecution didn't win, because she also participated in free calls with, it's alleged, Kanye and his wife. Allegedly. They didn't say the name, but many people have said that it was Kanye and his wife, Bianca. And Kanye has said that he's a cuck and that he likes to see his woman be with other men. And she participated in that, Jane Doe. So it wasn't just with Puffy, it was other men too. So that's why the situation got muddy. So to what you're saying, yo, other men are definitely doing this, definitely flying women out, definitely having them party. Cardi B and her man Stephon Diggs during the Diddy trial. Okay, during this trial, he had a pink substance in his hand on the boat with Cardi B, and Cardi B is talking about other women joining them. It's various women on the boat with them. They're partying. These celebs, they live a different life than we do. They have access to different things than we do. Even people, everyday, ordinary people, are getting down like this. They're inviting other people into their bedrooms. They're indulging in ecstasy and Molly to turn up all the way. Don't think it's not happening. Your best friends are doing this. Your family members are doing this. They are. Men are turning tricks just like women. Don't think they're not. They're turning tricks for dope. They're turning tricks for money. Hell, how many men are letting women take care of them? People live different kinds of lifestyle. This world is something else. Don't think for 1 minute that these people aren't doing this willingly for free. They're having threesomes for free. They're turning up at parties. Women are letting men run trains on them. Men are bringing other men into the bedroom with them and their wives. I read too much and I hear too much. I haven't been on this earth all these years and be blind or dumb. I'm not naive to any of it. I'm always shocked though. I'm always shocked with the things that people do because quite frankly, I have never done them and I would never do them. We have those of us who are, you know, who live our lives a certain way, who are clean cut, who are, oh, I'm married, I have my kids, and I'm happy to be with my husband. And then you have those who are raw and down and dirty. They like to do drugs, they like to get high. Part of getting high for them is I want to do freaky stuff. I want to turn up. I've heard people say that. Part of the drugs that they do gives them feelings of euphoria. It makes them want to just to get out there and do it. That's why they're doing it. I feel like this MMG that only God can judge him, and I believe he should be forgiven and given another chance. I'm sure he did just as much good too. We all make mistakes. Um, I'm not going to judge anybody. I don't care if it's the worst of the worst. I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm going to feel like I don't want my children around you. I'm going to feel like I'm not going to kick it with you. I guess that's judging, but um, if I'm a woman, I'm not, unless that's how I party. Again, I'm a straight laced person. I live my life a certain way, but again, I understand not everybody um, has the same morals and values that I do. Who am I to say that they don't? Because if they're not killing people, if they're not stealing from people, if they're not hurting anybody, if no one is being forced or made to do something, who am I to say what somebody else can do in their bedroom? I don't have anything to do with that. I wouldn't do it, but that's on them. If that's how they like to get down, I probably would be like interested. I would write a book about it, but I'm not doing it. That's just me. That's not something I want to do. I'm not young anymore. You know, you think about different stuff. We've all been there. We've all thought about things, and okay, you know, um, but those type of things, that's not something that I ever wanted to be a part of. And now that I'm older, I'm definitely not that uninhibited to do those things. Yeah, he is done for sure, TSM. His reputation is persona non grata. He's out of there. Like, you know, and then he has those convictions. He's convicted of a felony. He won't be able to move like he used to. And even if he, even if he's given time served today, he is still going to be on federal probation. So he has those 20 years. So for 20 years, he has to toe the line. If he does anything. So for any of you guys that are thinking, oh, he's getting off scot-free, he is not. He has 20 years hanging over his head, whether he does 20 years on probation, 20 years on home confinement, whether he does some of his time, it's still 20 years. So if he does 10 of those years and he comes home, he's still going to be on probation. So it will not be business as usual for P. Diddy. So he definitely got his hat handed to him. He definitely will not be doing things the way he used to do. And just think about it. If you're a woman, and even if you do like free calls, even if you do party that way, your your price is going up. If you want me to come do that with you, but he can't pay anybody else to do it. He can't pay people anymore. So he can't use his money. So how's he going to get men to join him? And then, even if he do get people to do it, he's running the risk of somebody telling on him from this point forward. If that's the case, look at how much good the others have done and was still arrested and did time. Right. If it doesn't matter how good of a person you are, if you do something wrong, the law should you should be charged with breaking the law. It doesn't matter if you're a great person. Now, will that weigh into how much time you get? Yes. And it should if you made a mistake, yes. If it's a one-time thing, but Puffy has been indulging in these type of behaviors for years. So, and how much good did he do? Let's think about it. How much good was he doing? He was living a high life. He was making money, and he was using all that money, all his time. He has what, 7 children, and most of his time was doing freak offs, running his businesses and doing freak offs. Who was raising those teenage girls? Yes, you saw pictures of him, but they wasn't with him all the time. They were with nannies. He tricked off most of their inheritance on freak offs. You using all my money? I'm your child, and all my money is going to the old girl, so you can do something nasty? Please. And TSM says it's a lot of people, like celebrities, who have an opinion painting Diddy as a demon when they're doing the same thing. Boosie came out and defended him, and Kanye. Kanye actually showed up at the trial, uh, which was kind of crazy because they were all Jane Doe was testifying at the same time about watching a freak off between another celebrity and his wife that she was present for. And they said it was him. So that was kind of funny that he showed up at that time. But Kanye has defended him and said he's a cuck too. Boosie has came out and said, listen, we all do this. This is what we do. Years ago, I think it was around the pandemic, Boosie had this party. Tiny and T.I.'s daughter was there. Reginae, Lil Wayne's daughter was there. And there was a woman having fun with a cucumber. And they videotaped it and they showed it on TikTok. But then everybody was saying, oh no, she's a pea star, a corn star. And I thought that was crazy that that woman was doing that on on Instagram Live. I think that's when Boosie got his page shut down because he was notorious for showing things like that on his Instagram. But he was having a birthday party. It was lots of celebs in attendance, and they were all standing around watching her do this, and it was on film. The feds didn't come knocking at his door for that because that was crazy that he showed that online. And it was crazy that a woman, this is a grown woman now that's doing this, and like I said, she was a corn star. So I guess she didn't have any problem with doing that in front of everybody, but they do stuff like that. And a lot of them were quiet and keeping quiet because they didn't need their tea getting spilled. So let's be honest. Hey, Daily Sips with Jazzy J. Thank you for tuning in. How's your day going? How are you today? Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. The Tixie Roll. Diana, girl, they said it's like this big. Tootsie Roll. Hey, Joyce, what's going on? You see what it is? Diddy not guilty. Not guilty. We talked about this. I said I felt like, now when the jury came back and they said that they were already decided on 4 of the charges, but the RICO Act they were hung on. I knew that he was probably guilty, and he thought he was guilty. I knew he was guilty of something because why even debate the RICO if you are already innocent, right? Then all of them would be innocent. So I knew he was convicted of something. And I said last night he was convicted of at least 2 charges. I didn't feel like he was going to get convicted of coercion because I just never saw it. Um, with Cassie, she was with him for 11 years. With Jane Doe, he was with her for 3 years. That's a long time to be forced to do something. And then with Cassie, most of all, when she left, everything she said she feared never happened. Everything that she said that he threatened to do, as far as showing the videotapes, he never did. He actually gave her all the tapes and all the laptops. The reason why the feds had all the evidence was because Cassie gave them that evidence. The whole time Cassie had planned that she was going to sue him at some point. After the Intercontinental Hotel incident, where we see him kicking Cassie and dragging her, she said then, I could sue him if I wanted to. I could sue you. What you did to me was wrong. On her way out the door, she said, hey, I need my bank account right. Like, I could go tell on you. I could tell what you did to me. So a lot of people feel like she was right to get paid, and that's debatable. But she got her money. She got her money from the motel, from the hotel, excuse me. But the whole time she did have every intention on suing him. She was coming for her coin. And the only thing that I have to say about that is, Puffy, you should have paid her, because you knew she had all that evidence against you. You knew you did beat that girl, and you knew you did have her doing those freak offs. So if you didn't want everybody to know, if you didn't want to be in the position you are in now, you should have paid her whatever she was asking for. So none of us would have been the wiser. But it was going to come out anyway, because people knew how Diddy got down. If somebody was going to sue him, it was going to come out. I feel like people who's defending Diddy, like them celebrities, are involved with some of these situations, and they are protecting themselves. Well, Boosie said, I told you about the Boosie situation, and he said that's how he gets down. He said that he pays women for stuff like that. Hell, he said he paid for a stripper to come dance for one of his underage sons. So he does do stuff like that. Jimmy traces Diddy as a victim. I have to disagree with you there, Jimmy. He is no victim. He is definitely not a victim. He's definitely guilty of being a domestic abuser, but the other allegations were a stretch for the lack of evidence. Diana, I feel like they had evidence. I feel like the prostitution, he paid them. They had the paper trail. He hired those men from escort agencies. The men admitted to being paid. He paid them. So those charges stuck because he did that. He transported them again. He had them cross state lines. He transported them overseas to engage in these freak offs. So he did that. The evidence was there for that. Cassie was a willing participant. Um, Cassie admitted that she did it because she loved him, because he revealed how he likes to party, and she wanted to make him happy, and that she did like doing them sometimes. She did admit that. So, but I think she also did them because that was the only time that she was going to get from him, because outside of the freak offs, Puffy wasn't really spending time with her. During the trial, they showed a text chain of Cassie trying to contact him, and he was basically ignoring her until she brought up a freak off. And then that's when his interest peaked. Like, sometimes he didn't want to be bothered with Cassie. Sometimes the only thing that they would do was freak offs. And after that, he was back to his normal life. He was back with Kim, back to being in his business. So she began to get smart, this Cassie girl. And she started dating other men. She started wanting to get out of the relationship. Um, she would get jealous. She would go back. It was very toxic. But she started seeing, wait a minute, I'm just a prostitute. You just have me doing these freak offs. So she called herself a prostitute. She said, you were never going to marry me. And especially when Kim passed away and Diddy called her his soulmate, she said, you never really saw me as anything but these freak offs. So I don't think that she wanted it. I honestly think that she wouldn't have done it if he never brought it up. This is not something that she would have said off the top of her mind. Oh, do you want to do a freak off? He came up with that. That was to please him. That was for him. You're back on here. I had to take my shower. Go to your doctor's appointment, and thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you for stopping by. I appreciate you all for joining the conversation. If you haven't already done so, please hit the like button for your girl, for your girl, for your for your for your girl, and also subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed to my channel. We have fun over here. We talk about fun topics. I talk to you about content creation, how I'm making money as a content creator. I got a lot of good stuff coming up next week. So after I get off of here, I got business to take care of. So I'll probably be going live probably earlier in the day from now on for at least the next week or so, because I got a lot of stuff to work on. And that'll all be coming out next week. We're going to have fun with this stuff. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you got that notification bell on, because you don't want to miss out. Do you think she only got that pay because that video came out? Would he have paid for her without that video? She got paid before the video came out. Cassie sued Diddy in, I think it was November 23rd. It was November 2023. I think it was the 23rd. And when it all came out the next day, remember, he settled with her within 24 hours. And that's because she didn't just sue Diddy. She sued um, Bad Boy. She also sued Universal, I think it was. I'm not sure, but she sued a lot of people in that suit against him. So it was not just him. So they said settle, 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 settle. And Diddy had been thinking that she was bluffing. He didn't take her serious. He didn't think she was actually going to do it. But she pulled that trigger because she needed the money. Let's be clear. She went from living with a billionaire, having her rent paid for, having her lifestyle paid for, to being with a brokey. And now she has 2 kids. And now she's probably still thinking about life with Puff, thinking about all those freak offs you had me do. And I walked away with nothing. You mean to tell me you had me doing those freak offs for 10 years and and you was beating my, I'm coming away with something. And you know what? If I'm with somebody who has that type of money, even if freak offs never existed, even if you treated me good, I was with you for 11 years. I got used to living a certain lifestyle. I need a settlement. But especially if I was doing that type of stuff, I need some money. The video came out in May of 2024, so it's about a good 6 months later. And she got paid from the Intercontinental Hotel because Puffy bribed those the security to get, well, he paid them off to get the video evidence. But one of the cops, one of the security that was there, he actually filmed it. He said to show his wife. Who knows why he filmed it, but he filmed it, so they believe that's where the evidence came from. But that's why she got paid from the Intercontinental, and they probably just paid her in good faith because they didn't have anything to do with it. But the people that they hired didn't they sold the tapes. I can't say they didn't protect her because the security guard did go down and make, Puffy stay in his room while she left, and he got a taxi for her and all of that. So they did go and handle the situation. However, Puffy didn't want to call the police. Obviously, he didn't do, because he did it. But Cassie didn't want to press charges. So there was that. But the Intercontinental paid her $10 million, and Puffy gave her $20 million. Mm-hmm. You hit the like button and you're also subscribed. That's what's up. And you've been a money getter. You're always supporting. I appreciate you. Diddy is no victim. That's why he gave us a halfway bad apology that wasn't even heartfelt. More of a guilt trip. Right. He only gave that apology after the video came out. Because remember, a week before the video came out, he said it was a money grab and he was tired of people trying to take him down and he was going to fight for fight to protect himself and his family. He said that a week before, or maybe days before, and then the video came out of him WWE Raw dragged down, knocked down with Cassie. So he was definitely not a victim. He's definitely the tyrant they say he is. He used his money, he used his power as a mogul to entice women into being with him, right? Young Miami said, "You women can only hope to bag you a Diddy. He would never look at you." She felt like she had, could you imagine now, Young Miami? You felt like you were doing the doggone thing. He got you that television show. He had you at the Met. He had you shutting down Chanel, paying for this. He bought you a Maybach. He did this, he did that for you. So let's be clear. These women felt like they had a prize in him. And he was using these young women to look good, to relate to the people right now. Diddy over there singing "Not Guilty." Take this money, make this money. Ain't no way you can take this from me. Now let's get it right. 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 Because that's the song he came out with after Shine took that case for him. And again, that's why people have for years, like if you go to LSA, lipstickalley.com, everything that was going on in the trial, everything that he was accused of in the trial, it's there. It's there as early as 2008. So a lot of people have known about Diddy's secrets. They have known about his mistreatment of others, how he had Shine take the deal for him. A lot of people feel like Diddy has been Diddy has been getting away with stuff for years. So nobody is really feeling sorry for him. And can you blame them? Can you blame anybody who doesn't feel like Diddy should be locked up? I don't know about life. I don't know about life. I don't know about life. Nobody was, well, people were harmed, but um, people who take someone else's life, they get 15 years for manslaughter. Um, People who violate children, I feel like those type of people, I do judge them. I feel like they should do life and they don't. So where grown-ups, consenting adults, in my mind, were involved, I'm not sure he should get life for this. Who knows what else they have? I mean, Diddy, if I'm you, I'm walking a thin line. I'm keeping my nose clean, but we know he's not going to do that. We know how people are, and he's used to doing his drugs. He's used to having his freak offs. He's used to having his way with women and men. So I don't think that he's going to be a choir boy after this. I just don't. Not unless he goes into an intensive treatment program. Not unless he really turns his life over to God. God can do anything with anybody. Um, he has kids. I hope for their sake he's turning it around. Diddy said there's a thin line between love and oil. Right, BDBGP, right. Diddy is worse than Remick from the movie Sinners. I've never seen that movie Sinners. I heard it was good. You're at work. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself at work, listening to me, participating in this conversation. I remember being at work, listening to podcasts and commenting, or just doing my work and listening to somebody in the background. So hit that like button for me, guys. I appreciate that, by the way. And also subscribe to my channel, because this ain't it. The Diddy trial is over, but I'm sure there will be more for us to get into and to break down and talk about. So make sure you're subscribed to me. My name is Charity. I am the Mommy Money Getter, and I have fun over here on this channel, guys. Guys, put a 1 in the chat for me, because I didn't do this poll yet. Put a 1 in the chat if you feel like the jury made a good call, and put a 2 in the chat if you feel like the jury got it wrong. 1 for you agree that Diddy got a good deal, that the jury did it right. 2 if you feel like the jury got it wrong. BDBGP, you feel like he got it wrong. TSM, you feel like he deserves to be locked up for sure for as much time, 15 to 20 years. Well, the charges that he was guilty of, that the jury found him guilty of, and I feel like they wanted to see him do some time because those charges bring 20 years, but they didn't want to see him spend the rest of his life in jail. Diddy is 55 now, and if he got all 20 years, he would do 85% of that time. So he would do what? He would do 17 years. There's a chance he could get back out, and when he's what? 72, he can get released, but I don't think he'll get that much time. I don't. He's still facing a few charges. He has lawsuits. I don't know about any other charges, but who knows? Who knows? Um, the prosecution, they want him to get 20 years. They said they're going to be asking for the full 20. Um, he's still, the judge is weighing in right now if he's going to let him out pending sentencing. Um, so they might keep him locked up. I don't know. Diddy's gonna be an old bad boy by the time he gets out. Right, right. He's probably being a bad boy in there. Don't think because some people have the mistaken conception that um, when people get charged with things like this, that and sometimes it does happen, but that's probably prison politics. But everybody's in there for a crime. Everybody's in there for being violent. People are in there. They think the same way Diddy does. So nobody is going to do anything to Diddy because of his charges. If anything, he's going to be prey because he has money. So somebody that's in there is probably going to want him to pay some type of they're going to want him to kick them down for protection, right? And also, because he has money, he's going to be able to get people that work there. And that's going to be something that the warden will have to really watch out for if he does time. Is, is he bribing the guards? Is he paying women to do different things? Because there's people in jail who are not millionaires and they're getting the women guards, the female guards, they're getting them pregnant. I know it happens. It happens. They're paying the guards to bring in cell phones, to bring in dope. I think they said he already had a cell phone, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, guys, I don't know. It was interesting to watch. It was I'm a true crime buff. I'm always interested in the inner workings of people's psychology and why they do things. This was a huge trial. Um, we didn't get to witness it by watching it on TV, but there are lots of people who, and lots of content creators who did commentary on it. Here myself, on my channel, you can go back and watch some of my commentary that I did. I did a live, I think 2 nights ago about it. I'm not sure. But I have some lives about the Diddy trial, maybe 3 or 4. So if you want to go back, if you haven't been keeping up with the trial, or you just want to go back and revisit some of the lives that I did, you can do that. But yes, not guilty on 3 of the serious charges, the charges that could have given him life, the racketeering charge. And I'm not sure if the charges that he has now can still get him, if the feds can take his money. But I know for sure if he had been found guilty of that RICO, his money gone. Private jet, gone. Mansions on Star Island, gone. Mansions in the Hollywood Hills, gone. What's tricky, MMG? I gotta use another person just to make an example. Rappers like Lucci and Young Thug are clean out after a handful of a year after taking people's lives. So could Diddy get the same time? Um, they did a few years. They didn't. Young Thug and Lucci. It didn't. I don't know if how much evidence that they had against Young Thug, because even the judge was like, "What are you doing?" He admonished the prosecution, and uh, Brian Steele, who was also Diddy's attorney, he He was held in contempt. They were talking about putting him in jail and everything because the prosecution, sometimes these prosecutors are overzealous to prosecute these guys. They know that there's something that they're doing, but they can't quite put a finger on it, and they overcharge them. But when it comes to us, they always overcharge us anyway, right? They're going to throw the book at us. And that's what they did in the Diddy case. And then once Cassie came out with her accusation, then, and they saw how quickly he paid her, then you got people who are going to come out and start accusing him of things. Once she revealed the salacious details of their relationship where other men were involved, then you got not only women saying he did this, now you got men too. And then if that's not bad enough, now you got people saying, well, he made me do this when I was underage. So, or they were saying all kinds of things. Oh, freak offs and stuff like that. But a freak off was basically something that Diddy did in his private time. Oh, don't go to a Diddy party. If you go to a Diddy party was when everybody was there. TD Jakes was there. He got caught up in it. I think Oprah went to a party, like a white party that they're having. You can come to my house for a party, right? You can come to my house for a barbecue. It's 4th of July. You go to your friend's house. You're there to enjoy the day's festivities, but you're not going to spend the night and go to bed with those people, right? And what they do in their own home during their evening time is what they do. So you had a lot of people saying, oh, he would have these parties and then he would have everybody doing this and doing that at a party. That didn't happen. That was just internet fodder. They didn't have any proof of that. The feds, and again, most people, uh, take pride or they congratulate the feds on being able to prove their cases, and that the feds don't come for you unless they have the evidence. They didn't have evidence that Puffy was with kids. So that's not something that was alleged in his charges. That's not something that was brought up in court. It was never brought up in court that he violated a man other than paying the male escorts. It was never brought up in court that he slept with men. The men said he didn't even want them to look at him, or he didn't want them to touch him. So he only wanted them to be with the women. So yes, he's a freak. Perhaps he likes men, but they didn't have that on him. It just wasn't there. So we can all, have our opinions about the case. We can all feel a certain way about it. But the truth of the matter is, I feel like this was a just verdict. I feel like the jury, they did their due diligence to weigh all the evidence. They asked appropriate questions, and then they didn't just rush to a judgment either way. I thought they were going to come back day one, because a lot of the evidence was repetitive. A lot of the witnesses stated the same thing, right? So at the end of the day, they didn't really have the prosecution's evidence and then the defense's evidence. They only really had the testimony to go on, because a lot of what he was charged with was based on witness testimony, and everybody heard the same thing. Like, we could all say we all heard the same thing. You didn't really have to be there. But I think what's happening is a lot of people are hearing stories, so they think, okay, that he was charged, so the stories that we're hearing must have been true. But if you watched the trial, if you read the transcripts, if you saw the commentary, then you have a better sense of what he was actually charged with and what the evidence actually was, because a lot of it, and I don't know, I try not to be biased, and I try not to have an opinion as to what he deserves. What I try to, the perception that I have, and what my, I'm talking about here is basically the legalities of his charges and what the evidence was. I'm weighing my opinion based on that. But like I said, like all of you have agreed and said, he has been a bad guy, right? He has. Diddy has been a tyrant. Diddy has been unfair. Diddy has cheated. Diddy has mistreated women. Diddy has beat Cassie. And definitely this if Cassie had brought this up 5 years ago, he definitely would be going to jail for assault. Definitely. Um, but she didn't bring it up then. She only uh, made the lawsuit, and as a result of the lawsuit, the feds started investigating him, and they came up with their charges. But outside of that, you know, right? And I do believe that if he gets out, he would do it all over again, if not worse this time. Um, I think he definitely wants to do it again. He's probably thinking to himself, I got to give me some baby oil. He's probably telling him, KK, I need a dozen of that Johnson's baby oil. I need the kiddie pool. Fill it up. I'm coming home tonight. Get Cowboys for Angels. Get them on the line. Young Miami, is she still down? I need her to be my friend. I need her to hold me down. He's probably already got one in his mind because remember, he's been doing free calls for years. Years. He about to have his own Diddy oil. Diddy oil. Take that. Diddy oil by Diddy. Take that by Sean John for your most raunchiest free calls. I can see it. Hey, I can see right now, and you already know, Pornhub is good for doing this. They're probably already willing to do a contract with Diddy to film one of his freak offs. That's the only way he's gonna do it. That's the only way. The only way he'll be able to do a freak off and get away with it. And that's what's crazy, right? That's what's crazy is that if he actually had like a or if he does this, if he has like a Diddy corn entertainment type situation, he could have saw him for free. He could pay them because I think the going rate for a female is probably like 25 to 5K. A man is like 1 to 25K. They don't get paid that much. Get you a little studio. Diddy, if you're listening, Diddy people. And I'm just trying to see, I'm just saying this so you don't mistreat any more women. Get you a little studio, hire you some entertainment, make sure you're on the up and up, get your proper permits, and then you could film them and direct them. That's the only way you're gonna get away with it. Is if you pay people, have them sign contracts. You got other people there. You got your security on the set, so nothing is out of order. These are female and male entertainers that do this for a living, and that would be happy to participate in one of your freak offs on film because now it's Diddy Entertainment is now Puffy's freak offs. That's the only way you're gonna get away with doing it is if you do it the right way. And if you had did it the right way from the beginning, you wouldn't be in this mess. If you from the very beginning had got with Vivid Entertainment or with Cornhub or one of those sites, yes, I know what they are. I heard about it. I don't actually watch that stuff. I'm a good girl. But anyway, if you had got with those people, then you wouldn't be in this mess. If you had let them film you, then it would have been and put it on their websites, you would have been good to go. But that's what you're gonna have to do. Because there's no way that you're gonna get somebody to do it without paying them top dollar. There's no way you're gonna get a girlfriend who's gonna go for that stuff and you're not paying her. You don't have her on $1 million retainer. And secondly, if you got men, now their fee is going up. I'm not doing this stuff for you. I could go to jail for this. This is a crime. So the only way he's going to be able to get away with this is if he does it the legal way. Like go to Vegas. You can go to the the Bunny Ranch. Do they still do that in Vegas? I remember the last time Lamar, he was almost out of there at that Bunny Ranch in Vegas. But I think it's legal. It's legal in Vegas, Puffy. So go on and get you a mansion in Vegas, and you can do your freak offs legally. You just can't have the drug stuff, but you can do it in Vegas legally. It's legal. And there's also places like uh, Amsterdam where you could do it legally. There's places where you can do a legal freak off, but um, that's how you're gonna have to do it. Yes, thank you, Yo-Yo. Please like and subscribe to your girl. If you haven't, I'm still at 20 likes, and I know it's new people in this chat. I know there's some new people in this chat. Go ahead and hit that like button for me. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And I appreciate you all for taking the time out of your day. You could be listening to somebody else. There's lots of people talking about the Diddy trial today. And I thank you guys for tuning in to me. But what do you guys think? Do you think Diddy will still do freak offs? I think he will. But how is he gonna do them? What do you guys think? Um, do you think he'll go do them in Vegas? Now, remember I said it here first. So if we start seeing Diddy in Vegas a lot, we know why. You think so, Yo-Yo? I think so too. And I think, but he's gonna be on that federal probation. He won't be able to move about like that. He won't. He's going to have a tether on him. I feel like if they let him out, even if they let him out during the sentencing, he's going to have an ankle monitor on. And they're going to be watching him. They are going to be watching him. He's not going to get out and be able to do whatever he wants to do. The feds is going to be on his bumper. That's just what it is. Mm-hmm. But yes, when you have money, justice is different. Um, and it shouldn't be that you have to be a millionaire for you to get a just result. But when you have money, the law, the legal system is not black and white anymore. Like you might get charged harder, you might get higher bails, but if you have money to pay those bails. If you have money, you have the ability to hire those attorneys who are going to fight for you. You have the ability to get those expert witnesses and things like that to um, like the different witnesses that came on the stand against Puffy. A lot of them, they their testimony was nullified because they were lying, and he had attorneys that were able to show that. You could have won this case, Ryan. Well, here's the thing. I think definitely when the jury saw all the different people coming in, and when they saw Diddy, Diddy is like somebody that's a family friend. We've seen him on the TV for what, 30 years. We saw him on TV, hip hopping, Diddy bopping, rapping. We saw him running marathons in New York. He just got the key to the city before he got arrested. We've seen him recently. Diddy is still a huge name. So this is not just an ordinary a criminal. So people are going to have that factor of he's a celebrity, and I don't want to see a celebrity go to jail. Just like if they see a white woman and they have her looking pretty and cute and prim and proper, it's hard for most people to see a white woman as somebody that's violent. It's easier to see a black man or a poor black man go spend the rest of his life in jail than it is to see a rich man. And that's just how people are. They should have had Wendy Williams come and testify. She would have told it all. Wendy has been talking. Wendy has been talking for years. And what's so cold about that is he got her fired because she said she had proof that he was gay. That was wrong. And then he ended up going on her show years later and they forgave each other. But I feel like he did her wrong. She's one of the people that he definitely did wrong. I feel like he did Diddy wrong. I feel like Diddy did Cassie wrong. I know he did Wendy wrong. I feel like he wasn't responsible when it came to Biggie. I feel like he led him. If he had nothing to do with Biggie, I feel like he didn't protect him as an artist. He shouldn't have had Biggie in LA with the climate at that time that was going on. Tupac had just lost his life. He should have never had brought Biggie to Cali. Um, so I feel like there was some. I feel like he, and his artists. I feel like I don't know if I can say that he was fair or unfair in their contracts, but I know that, um, none of them are rich now. He took Stevie J produced a lot of music for Bad Boy Records. Stevie J, I know he acts like a clown on Love and Hip Hop, but Stevie J is a bad producer. And Puffy took a lot of credits for things that he did not produce. Yes, he was there, and yes, he probably said add a add a huh, but Stevie J is talented. Stevie J was producing all that, all that music for Bad Boy. Right, Ryan. You feel like Cassie was full of poop. I feel like her trainer, which was hired by her husband, who was hired to train her for freak offs. Get into that. But I feel like her husband knew what was going on, and from time to time he would get online and call Puffy gay. He would get online and throw shots at Puffy. I feel like he got in her ear like, babe, we can get this money. And in the back of her mind, she had all that evidence because she didn't get rid of the evidence. She held on to the evidence. And I feel like in her mind, it was like, you know what? If my career doesn't go anywhere after I left him, because I feel like if she had a career, I feel like if Cassie was selling music, if Cassie was making money like that, I don't believe that she would have sued him. I believe she probably would have went on with her life. This would have been a bad story that she lives with in the back of her mind, but I definitely believe that. And who's to say that she was right or wrong for this, right? Again, I leave you after years of freak offs, years of abuse, years of drug addiction. I need something for that. I need to walk away. He should have, in my mind, Diddy should have had her sign an NDA, and Diddy should have gave her a nice house, a nice car, and a few million. You should have done that. Off GP, you should have done that. You should have let her walk away happily with this guy because you know what you did. So the fact that you didn't, the fact that you let her leave you without kicking her down, that right there shows me that you're a complete imbecile. Ryan says, I learned a lot about law when I was locked up. That's all we did was go over law and order. Right, right. They should have had Wendy Williams. Okay, that was no way near a RICO case. Not when we think about a RICO, right? We don't think about uh, a freak off. A lot of people were calling it a freako because they were talking about the freakiness of somebody's bedroom. Usually, when we think of RICOs or racketeering, we think about the mob, or um, we think about tax evasion, we think about violence, we think about this big conglomerate of many moving parts, many individuals, but it was only really Diddy, and it was his personal assistants who they said he hired to do the free calls. But if you're a rich man, you're going to have a chef. You're going to have a personal assistant. And what are they there for? What are they there for? They're there to set up your rooms, to clean up after your mess. KK was his right hand girl. She was there to clean up his messes and make sure that his life was easier. Should she have been as involved? Should she have been doing some of the things that she did? I think they're coming for her. I think they're going to be coming for her. They're coming for you, KK. I hope you're lawyered up, and hope you're prepared. But one thing about her, I don't think she was going to testify against Diddy. So I don't know what they would charge her with. I don't know. Or if they get people to testify against her, we'll see if that's coming down the pipeline. Look at Tyler Perry. 50 is next. Now, see, 50 is a big troll, but 50 has a lot of nerve. Um, Daphne actually accused him of DV, and he pleaded no contest to that. He was on probation for that, I think, or he had to pay a fine. Something happened with that. But 50 his hands aren't clean. It's alleged that he burnt down his baby mama's house because he didn't want her living in it. And we see how he treats his first son. And then he was only paying Daphne $4,700 a month. What happened to have a baby by me, be a millionaire? So his hands are not clean. 50, you need to really, really chill, because I'm sure there's some things that can be told about you, bro. Real talk. And Tyler Perry, ooh, Ryan, when that tea comes out, somebody has a lawsuit about him. Ooh, ooh. When they come out with that stuff about Tyler, because I really believe in Tyler, he's always acting like he's so nice and like he's paying his people so well, and he believes in God. And I do believe that, but I also believe that Tyler has a thing for cute boys, cute light skinned boys with wavy hair. Let's not play with it. Tyler likes him some little boys. You never liked Diddy. I always felt like he was jealous of his artists. Entertainment you love. Remember when Suge Knight said, if you don't want your record producer all in your videos, dancing and singing, trying to rap in your videos, come to Death Row. Remember that? That was on the Source Awards. I remember watching that. It was so funny. And Snoop came out. The East Coast ain't got love for Death Row. Let it be known then. But I remember that. That was a scary night. That's when Suge Knight first called him out. And I remember feeling like, ew, he's always in the videos. And I feel like he wanted to make money off of Biggie, but he also he saw himself as being as big as a Biggie, because Biggie, a lot of people say that Tupac was number one, but Biggie is my number one. I just love the way he finessed a lyric. I love everything about Biggie with his fat self. I missed him. Still to this day, I'm bumping Biggie, and I feel the same way that I did in the '90s. But that's why I felt the way I did about Puffy, because he brought out some good acts in the '90s. He brought out the Notorious Big, Craig Mack. He had Toto. Toto was the Those were my girls. He brought out, he produced Little Kim. He managed her career. Um, he had a lot to do with Mary J. Blige's style and the remixing of some of her best songs. So Diddy was that guy. But Diddy also wanted to be out on stage. He had he had it in his mind that he wanted to be a star too. So, and that's what I think he took precedence over his artists. He wanted to be the big star. And they said after Biggie died, he was supposed to be on the cover of a magazine, but Diddy said, no, you know what, he's gone now. I'm going to take the cover. And they gave him the cover. He told them, no, he gone. He's over with. He already gone. Give me the cover. So, yeah, a lot of people didn't like him for that reason, because they didn't feel like he was fair with his artist, Yo-Yo. Yes, he produced, I don't know about 85%, Ryan, but you know a lot, Ryan. Ryan be over there listening to some jazz, some hip hop, R&B. When you go to Ryan's page, guys, follow Ryan and follow my girl Yo-Yo and follow my girl TSM. I mean, my guy TSM. Follow all the people in my chat. They're hard. Their pages are dope as. So yeah, Ryan, when you go over to his channel, he's gonna have some cool music. So you might know, but Ryan, I think a lot of her music in the beginning, he had a lot to do with her styling, and Misa, his baby mama at the time, he had her styling Mary J. And I remember he did a remix album for her. He used to remix songs for Jodeci. So he had a lot to do with a lot of the '90s music that came out. He had Faith Evans. Faith Evans is an R&B treasure. Everything that she has done back then is a classic. So definitely he's responsible for bringing to light. He helped with Usher's first album, Puffy did. Faith Evans is on there. Donnell Jones wrote a lot of songs on there, but that was all Puffy who brought that together. So um, he remixed songs for SWV, for Mariah Carey. Puffy had a lot to do with um, A lot of the R&B classics that we hear from the 90s. Let's be clear, but he definitely had designs on being a star himself. So absolutely after Biggie passed away, he took center stage, right? You agree with the Tupac and Biggie situation, TSM? Coming from Jersey, I know years ago Diddy was zesty. A lot of people are saying that they knew that. I remember my sister had been saying for years and years and years and years, she thought that Diddy was gay. And on my behalf, I thought years ago that he had Cassie doing this kind of stuff, but I thought he had her doing it with other women. And I also saw him as a cuck. I don't know why I had that in my mind about him. I never heard a story about it. He just had that kind of spirit. I always just thought that about him. So, you know, it's not a crime to do drugs and be a swinger. Well, it is a kind of a crime to distribute drugs. That's actually a crime to buy drugs and to give them to your friends. That is a crime. But to be a swinger, no, it's not a crime as long as all parties are uh, consenting adults. Yeah. Ryan says Diddy is a master manipulator. Facts. Definitely facts, Ryan. Diddy is a billionaire in real life. He wasn't thinking the words conspiracy. Tyler Perry, I think he goes one way, Ryan. I think he likes men. Um, they said that he had a child, but we've never seen, and I think he married the mother, but we never really seen her. I think that she's probably a beard, allegedly, and I think that Tyler, because Tyler has had things done to him as a kid, and by men, so that's always tricky when that happens. So I can't say I've seen him do it with my own eyes, but I think that he may, I think he may be I think he may be closeted Tyler. Um, I'm not sure. You remember that Suge moment, TSM? I think everybody remembers that. We probably can go on YouTube and look that up. You're welcome, Ryan, for the shout out. You're right. Welcome, TSM. I appreciate you all. You guys, everybody in my chat always supports me. They always look out for me. Um, we're supposed to be doing a panel on this Saturday. I got to get with my girl Jazzy to make sure she's still up for it. But we need guys. The name of the panel will be How Do You Want It? What guys want from women. So if anybody is up for joining that panel this coming Saturday, let me know. I'm still looking for guys. I still got to promote it. I got a lot to do when I get off of this. When I get off of this live. But yes, we're definitely going to be continuing the panels. Definitely more fun stuff down the pipeline. And I also wanted to say, your girl is probably going in a little different direction over here on this channel because I want to keep it real. I want to have fun over here. I'm definitely still the mommy money getter, but I want to talk about things that concern me and that affect you and that you want to hear. You can't wait for the panel. I think we're going to have a good time. It's going to be at 6 p.m. at 6 p.m. I'm sorry, guys. I got text messages coming through. They know I'm on live. My family already knows. Um, but it will be 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, and it will start at 6 and it will go until whenever. We have fun over here, so you guys already know it's going to be a good time. So make sure you are subscribed and that you have your notifications on for that. And I'll be promoting that. And like I said, I'm still looking for guys to join the panel. So or just to come and watch it, just to tune in and comment. So, ooh, guys, we're over 2 hours. Yes, it would definitely be a hot topic. My girl Yo Yo's gonna be over there. My girl Jazzy J is going to be on the panel. I'm looking for more females too. And I'm also looking for people that don't mind coming up on the panel and asking questions. And I want guys that's going to keep it real with us women. How do you really feel about women, and what type of woman do you want? What turns you off? What turns you on? Thank you, Yo Yo. Thank you for your support, your constant support. I really appreciate you. You'll be there. TSM will be there Saturday. K Mizzo, I see you back. I see you're back. Your girl Jazzy is hosting a panel with me. So K Mizzo, I know you're gonna be there. And if you haven't already liked the chat, please go ahead and like the chat for me. But guys, I'm gonna get off of this thing right now. I appreciate everybody who commented. You guys were great. This live went really well. I appreciate you guys for your engagement, for the likes, and we're going to keep this going. We're going to do more of this. We're going to have fun over here. So make sure you are subscribed to my channel. And you guys have a blessed day.